in this 12-member budget drafting team, there are two women, of course, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman and the Secretary of Department of DEA, which is Anuradha Thakur. And on this broadcast, we have two women also joining us, Rumki Majumdar and Sanchita Mukherjee. I'm going to take that question to both of you. Rumki Majumdar, here is the message that is coming in from Finance Minister that the role of women also becomes important. The Secretary DEA is also part of this entire drafting committee. So we can expect some more concerns being addressed, particularly with regards to the social sector and household budget.
Absolutely. And I would like to also say the fact that women have always been at the center of every budget of a household. So why not take it to the national level as well? So with the rising participation of women, I think what will happen is there will be more allocation towards social sectors, which even the Prime Minister highlighted that human will be at the center of every reforms and transformation, right? So with this, I think social sectors, the broad basing of the growth, the sectors which are at the center of creating employment, that is the MSMEs, these will be at the helm of it, and we expect a lot to be done on these.
In these areas. Okay. We'll be looking at some more data, particularly with regards to the social sector. Just look at this graph and, the concerns about the education. Education sector, there has been an increase consistently, barring 2025, where there was a slight dip. There, the government has increased its allocation or expenditure with regards to education. It has been going up. Just look at this graph. It started increasing from financial year 2022, went up 223.4K. Then it has gone up, particularly with the budget estimates suggesting this. And then the healthcare, again, an important sector. The budget allocation being consistently going up. So, Sanchita, while we are looking at this area, of course, the focus will be also on what is it that the Finance Minister has to announce with regards to inflation. The food inflation is in check. The the fastest growing large economy also has the lowest food inflation. But the concerns is also about the quality of jobs, even as the government says, and the indication which came in from the economic survey, that the number of jobs have gone up.
Thank you so much for having me on your show, Maria. I'll just kickstart this conversation by quoting the national animal of India, the tiger, tigress. And the tiger actually lies low, not in fear. The tiger lies low when it's taking aim. So I think the whole crux of this budget is how we are taking aim in a very, very heightened environment, which is volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity on a geopolitical platform, right? I think in the last couple of years, the Finance Ministry has done a very commendable job in fiscal consolidation. We have been lying low. Our macroeconomic parameters are pristine. If you look at our deficit numbers, fiscal deficit numbers, it's all going great. However, the challenge lies in the numbers that you just quoted. You put up some very exemplary analytics in terms of how do we attract FDI, how do we have more productive education, which translates to skilling and job creation in the economy. How do we do all of this? That can be done, I think, by working very smartly, very thinking out of the box and looking at last mile implementation and execution, which is the need of the hour. See, all of these, the Awas Yojana, Ayushman Bharat, these are schemes, amazing schemes which are there. How do we look at execution? For example, can we look out of the box thinking there is an industry demand? Do we have the skilling for it? Why don't we look at private public participation, right? In which public sector takes up the regulatory risks, takes up the risks of the land. But
Sanchita, since you spoke about the industry demand, the sense within the government was that if they bring something like what they did last time around, the internship scheme, that will also ensure that the industry participates. What has been the reaction and the execution of that?
Simplified execution. To be very honest, we need to cut across the red tape. We need to cut across compliance. We need execution on the ground in terms of the private sector takes the business risk and the public sector takes the risk in terms of regulatory and the land reforms. So this is something that they need to look at in terms of last mile implementation. Similarly, with agricultural productivity, for example, agricultural productivity does not have access to funds the way we would like it to, right? How do you enhance the value productivity in agriculture? We can have credit guarantee schemes like the ones we have in the MSME sector, right? With far, far lesser compliance, ease of doing business, and access to capital. Similarly, the government has done a heavy lifting when it comes to infrastructure, right? You've built your roads, you've built your ports, you've built your freight corridors. How about we look at asset monetization? How about we look at divestment, strategic divestment, gold monetization? There's so much of gold lying in the lockers of India. How do we look at gold monetization to bring that into productive economy, right? So that public sector can keep on spending into productive economy, urban infrastructure, whereas that this will create jobs, this will create consumption, virtuous cycle, and bring the money back in terms of the demand in the economy.
Okay,